Hey guys, welcome back to episode 7 of Rumor Has It. Today I figured we could talk about my car problems because today I had literally the scariest experience of my life. So I'm going to talk about the first time I had a wreck and this time because it's only 2 times. My first time is when I had my Pontiac. I had a Pontiac Torrent and it was a beast. I could go anywhere in it. It's really fast. Ooh, excuse me. It was really fast and it was great. I loved it. So I was on my way to school because my school never called school off for a snow day. It was like dead of winter. It was awful. So I still had to come, and my mom had just left before me because she had to take my grandpa to chemo. And in between where I went to school and where we lived, it's like a dead spot. Like you can't get any service, nothing. And so she left probably like 5 minutes before me, not very long. And so I leave because I always left at a certain time, but I had to leave before so I could make school on time because I knew I had to go slow. So I'm going like 40, 35, like I'm going slower and slower as I go because I'm like, it's a really icy because it would snow and then pack and then ice and then it was just awful. The roads were terrible. They definitely should have called school off, but they didn't. Never. So I'm driving and you had to like come out of the town and drive on the highway for a little bit and then turn. And before I could get to the turn, this pickup was coming down towards me and it was in the middle of the road. So like I got over because I figured like they would notice and get over and I could get back to like driving in my lane. Well, that didn't happen, and my tire, like, dug into the snow, and my car just, it makes me sick, just starts spinning, and I get, like, 2, like, full spins, and I wasn't even going very fast, and I get 2 full spins, and then all of a sudden, it, like, just shoots into the ditch, and our ditches are deep, and I go down, and I come back up, and I, like, land in this cornfield, and I'm, like, so Nebraska, right? And so I'm like sitting in this cornfield, I'm crying because I'm an emotional mess 24/7. So I'm like bawling and I'm like, oh my god, I'm dead. I know I'm dead. I'm literally dead right now. And I call my mom and I'm like crying and she had just got to the dead spot. So all she heard was I wrecked and me crying. And so I know I scared the shit out of her and she was probably a little pissed. But actually I know she was pissed. And so I'm going and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, oh my god. Well, the people who wrecked me kept going. They didn't stop. And so this other pickup, thank god, stopped. They drove through the ditch to get to me and they came and asked me if I was okay. And I literally kept crying and they're like, oh, are you okay? Because you keep crying. I'm like, I'm fine. And I had to breathe and I finally relaxed and I was like, yes, I'm fine. And they told me how to get out, and I went to school, and I got to school, and I went to the nurse because I was nauseous, and she's like, I think you should just go home for today. And so my mom had to come pick me up after she got done with my grandpa's chemo treatment, and we get out, and my tire's flat. Like, I hit the side of this ditch so hard, it flattened not 1, but 2 of my tires. The whole side of my car was flat, and the only thing else that happened is I got a crack in my front bumper and the piece sometimes fell out, but I just had to kick it back in. So that's all that happened out of that, and I was really lucky and it was really great. Well, the second time was today, and I had to take my dog back to my mom's, and so I had to do it with like enough time to make it to work. So I was wearing these, and that comes apparent in the story, I promise. And so I'm driving to where she lives, which is on the interstate, and, I dropped my dog off, everything was fine, and I'm coming back, and, oh my god, thinking about it, like, my stomach drops every time I think about it. All of a sudden, my car bounces, and I'm like, oh, what was that? And it happened so fast, I didn't, like, have time to fathom what was happening. All of a sudden, I, like, hear my tire, like, rip around in the wheel well, and then it goes again, and I see it out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna die now. Like, I thought this was it, and So I start slowing down, and all of a sudden, my tire just like shoots, comes up right under my mirror. It probably would have broke it if it would have been any higher. So it like shoots behind me. I'm like, oh God, my tire's gone. It just exploded. Like, I can't do anything. And so I pull over, and I just sit there, and I cried for a little bit, and then I called my mom. Like, as you can tell, I call my mom for everything. So I called her, and I'm like, oh my God, my tire just blew up on the interstate. And she is like, what? And I was like, yes, it literally blew up, and I don't know what to do. So all this stuff happens, and I call people, and all of a sudden, this tow truck is coming, because I finally got a hold of someone. And so they're coming, and I'm like, whew, okay. Well, I was like 30 miles away from where I live. So they had to drive all the way out, and then get me. And he's in a wrecker, so he can't go very fast. I mean, he drove the speed limit enough, but he could have got there faster. That's all I'm saying. And so I'm sitting in my car waiting, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna like make fun of me or something. Like, I don't know. I just always think the bad out of everything. And so he gets there, and he's like across the interstate, and like people are speeding by, and I'm like, he's never gonna get over here. And we're gonna flip and sit here forever waiting for him to cross. I'm like, I just have to live at the interstate now. And so he finally, like, him and I both make eye contact, and I look behind me, and I'm like, it's go time. And he just like hauls butt across and backs up, and he looks at my car, and he goes, oh my goodness. He goes, you're so lucky your entire tire didn't blow. Like, you probably would have flipped. And I was like, oh, yay, I love that news. Here, I'll show you a picture. I have it on my phone because insurance reasons. I don't know if you can see, but this is literally what happened. So it tore that all off, and you can't see it from this picture, but in the front, like, my bumper got shredded, and it pushed my light out, and a part of my door is making noises every time it opens. And so he loads it, and he was super nice and everything, and it was great. Well, that tire that blew was only 3 weeks old. And it was brand new. Like, I paid new price because they said it was new. And if they tell me it was used, then we're going to have, like, an extra problem. And so, my mom's like, I don't know how to say this because she watches my videos. Like, I'm kind of crazy, and I'm like, I will get what I want. But she's, like, more stern about it. Like, I'm kind of afraid of confrontation, but I will demand. So she is going to call them tomorrow and tell them that they will pay for it because they gave me a new tire, and everyone's been telling me there's warranty on tires. And so I hope, if not, she'll handle it because that's what she does. And so the guy who picked my car up was so nice. He dropped me off at my apartment, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you're so nice. And so I ordered an Uber to get to work because they're like, you still have to come to work. After the day I had, they're like, yeah, you better come in. And so I like order it, and I didn't know that Ubers were this fast at getting here. I had time to brush my teeth because I hadn't showered for the day. I hadn't eaten. I did literally nothing. I brushed my teeth, put deodorant on, put cologne on, and I like, out. He got here, and he had the nicest car. It was a brand new Toyota Camry with like embroidered seat covers, and I was like, oh my god, I feel like classy hoe right now. And he had pillows to match the seat covers, and he offered candy and gum, and he was literally so nice. And it was like such a nice end to my day, and I got to work, and work was great. And my friend brought me home that I work with, and it was, the day ended so much better than it started, and I couldn't have been happier. So there's my car wrecking stories that I've had, just the two. I know, as bad as I drive, I should have more. Ask my friends about it. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And let's see how high we can get that like button and that subscriber count. Thank you for all the support you guys give me and all the likes and the comments that I have. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter for more updates. yeah, thanks. That's it. Have a great night, and I'll see you on episode 8.